Hey guys, it's Mick, and for you guys that don't know me, I am an indie game developer. I've been doing indie game devs for about 6 years, mostly short games and hobby games that I like to do. And I like to test out and do other things. And if you guys like to see my page, there's my page. And recently I just did a different type of game. It's a tower defense, but this time in a third person view, and a 3D view. Particularly, I gotten much better with doing 3D, and I've been wanting to test a few things that I never tried. And I think this is what I like about doing short game jams is that I can test different things. Particularly this one that I made is for myself, and it's part of a monthly make jam that I like to do. It's a month game jam that I like to test out and then try and do different things. This time really did test myself out. And I just for you guys to know how I start typically game jams, I'll start with a simple, just kind of like a quick diagram of ideas and summaries that I can put together. In this case, I was thinking maybe I can do something like a 3D view of a tower defense. But in this case, it was gonna be more for like maybe where you recharge or charge your battery, and then you can connect it to a tower. So I wanted to do something different. I wanted to use focus more on battery charge. Also, I wanted to do some sort of enemy that you have to kind of worry about, and I particularly wanted to do something with more energy. In this case, I wanted to do like a core cube, and the idea is maybe these slugs or leeches would come up, get attracted to the cube, and the idea is to protect the core cube, and then you can use your power ups and then kind of defend the cube in that way. Particularly in this case for me, it was a little bit challenging just because I don't think I ever done anything in this scale, and like I said, I'm still learning how to do 3D art and that sort of perspective. I actually started with simple game test cubes at first in Unity, and I like to grayscale. I don't know if some of you guys maybe don't do grayscaling, but I do actually recommend grayscaling at first, just to test out how the mechanics work at first. I wanted to see maybe if I can, my idea would kind of plot through instead of, investing so much time on a game, or maybe it would not work. So I like to do small cubes and big cubes kind of work together and see how well they shift around and how it kind of connects. So now with the Blender portion of it, I actually had a really good time making it. I don't think I ever made a character like this, how it came out in Blender. I'm kind of really proud of it. I never really perspective that to do something like this. So this is really my greatest character creation that I ever made, I think. Obviously, I'm getting better, and I'm getting much better with topology, and I'm understanding it much better. How before when I first started, where I was just using maybe squares, or maybe they weren't very linear, they're kind of off and a little bit different. So I'm getting that sort of perspective where I can understand more of the armature and topology, right? In that sort of perspective. I also did other enemies as well, so I wanted to do my own unique character enemy. Particularly, I went with these leashes as reference. So I kind of said, oh, maybe I can make it into a slug or something. So I kind of wanted to give it like vile big teeth and a cool, crazy tongue like this. So something like a really huge monster that's trying to get to the core. It was actually, I did the gradient for it too. I also got better with doing more material and gradients. So I could give it kind of a nice shine to the game. So it's very boring and, more it has more life to the game. I think gradients do really do a good job of kind of showing your game in that perspective. And also, of course, besides gradients, I got better with using shaders. Now, shader graphs is another different thing. Just coming to me from a coding background, understanding Unity shaders was something just way different. For me, doing node systems, it's kind of like, is this kind of an Unreal issue, or is this kind of a different sort of aspect? It's not too bad. I think once you kind of get the understanding, the basic understanding how gradients work, how to use noise, how to use gradients, how to use the art perspective to create your materials, and use it into your game to get kind of like a great looking game. And that really helped me. I really didn't think I was gonna actually be able to do it, but it took some time to understand it and how to create it. Obviously, I wanted to do more things for my game. It wasn't just gonna be, a character and enemies. I wanted to do really everything with it. Just about everything I did. Also, I did a couple, items too. Wanted to do a little microchip right here. So maybe an M right here. Sort of things that I wanted to put into the game. I like to do that just so I can test myself, see how far I can do things, and see how far maybe objects I can try out, and obviously get better with Blender. Ideally, I think that's my way I'm gonna go more onto the 3D side. I do still like 2D, so maybe I might do a couple pixel art games. I feel a little bit that I've been kind of rusty on my pixel, but I think if I go back to a sprite and start doing 2D pixel games, I don't think I'm gonna have any issues with it. Obviously 3D going from like 2D to 3D is a big change, very big change for me. It's been quite the process. Obviously, and here's the gameplay of the game. So if you guys are interested, this was just kind of like doing the whole aspect of it. Those little upgrades, those little particle effects that I did, that was something new. I never done anything like that. I wanted to try out something more vibrant, more kind of like graphically appealing, so people can kind of play it and see, oh wow, this looks interesting. This is a different aspect. Same with the tower. I wanted the tower to have just not like a boring, projectile ball. I wanted to give it a nice trail. So if you guys see when the tower shoots out, or even when the player projectile, it has a trail that kind of goes out and extends off. Also, when it makes impact with the slugs, it leaves like a little explosion effect, and that's actually what's actually not really on purpose. I was kind of like gonna be like a special feature, like a special, but I said, you know what, maybe I can keep it just to give it a nice good effect when the tower as a projectile impacts the slugs. So I left that in there. And obviously I also did a couple of coins and stuff like that I made on my own. They have my own unique kind of like MIG in there, and they have my own little mimic that I put in the game as well. Same with the other core mechanics. I did a little like a sort of like a shadow, that kind of particle effect that kind of removes off. So I did that too as well. I think the biggest issue was creating the battery. I think the dragging and dropping the battery was a little bit tricky, and then put it into the actual tower area. For you guys that don't know, on trigger events or trigger events in Unity aren't kind of, they're very sticky in a way. Sometimes you can get them off and on. You can activate them. You have to kind of like play with on trigger stay and on trigger, collision. Those are kind of different things that you can do. So I wanted to do that sort of aspect. Also, I had some issues too with the when it discharged the battery, the tower would still shoot. So what I did is I made it, once it reaches like a percentage on the battery, it'll go back to the recharge station automatically, and then that way I can prevent that bug from being in there. I think this was a game that kind of, I'm surprised how I made it, in a month. It was a fun aspect to it though, and I kind of want to continue doing that, where I can make games in a month and challenge myself and to do something different. Obviously, I was getting bored of doing 2D games and doing the same sort of, aspect of it. I like the challenge. So anytime I try to do something, I like to make it unique and then try to improve all my game development skills. See how can I challenge myself in a different aspect. I think it's the same for anybody that's doing game development. Obviously, don't think about it as the monetizing issue. Think about it how you can improve as a person or as a game developer. Maybe improve a skill that you want to do. It doesn't always have to be maybe particular 2D, 3D, right? You can always try to challenge yourself to maybe do Blender, and you'll be surprised. Honestly, I am really been surprised how well I've been doing 3D. I consider myself kind of like a 3D, almost a 3D kind of expert. I have a lot to learn still with 3D. I think my next step is gonna be focusing on doing materials and focusing on shaders, and also even making my own music. One thing I do on my own is the actual sound effects for the enemies. I do that sort of sound effect that I do. I do that for certain things. I'll do coin effects in the microphone that I can do. One thing I have not done is music. So I think that's gonna be probably my next challenge, is focusing on doing materials, music, and then different things for game development. I really do want to be kind of like an all-around game developer, not just kind of like focus on games that could make money. I want to focus on games that how I can challenge myself, how can do it the same. And it's the same with you guys. Hopefully, I'm influence you guys, anybody that's new or working full time or whatever it is. I, me and my age is kind of difficult too, but hey, I've been doing really great, and hopefully this will impact you guys, and I will see you hopefully on the next Make Jam or maybe other game jams. So see you around. Hopefully you guys enjoy this game. Let me know and make sure to like this video. And if you guys want to see more, definitely check out all my shorts. I'll continue making games as always. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.